You've been moving all your life, of course. But do you really understand what constitutes movement? What movement is comprised of? What are the factors that go into movement? Likely not. We are a very movement illiterate culture. Even though we're very physically active, at least some of us are, and wanting to do a lot of things with our bodies, there's a lot we don't understand, and that works against us. So let's say you wanted to read and write. That would be completely predicated on learning the alphabet. And then you'd have to learn what vowels and consonants are, and you'd develop the ability to make words. And the words would then form sentences, so you could express complete thoughts, and the sentences create paragraphs, and the paragraphs create chapters. And before you know it, you've written a book, and maybe it's a bestseller, or at least your mother's proud of you. Movement is the same way. Movement has a certain foundation. All movement, all exercise, it's built on it. And there are elements of the course that emphasize aspects of movement that I can show you real quick right now. So you can have a couple of, oh yeah, right, aha moments, hopefully. And then you can get on to doing some of these routines for yourself. So the first idea I want to express to you is the concept of shaking. And it's just basically moving around to loosen yourself up. And it's like an animal coming out of the water and they shake themselves off. Because what does shaking do? It vibrates. And what does vibration do? It loosens things up. So we have to be able to learn how to vibrate our body, slowly at first. And we do it all from the concept of what is called midline, which is a line running right through the center of my body. So it divides me in half from left to right and front to back. That's midline. All movement is in relationship to midline. Now, if you learn how to shake your body, and in these routines, you're going to learn several different ways of doing that. Some are more relaxed, some are a bit more physical and involved. You're setting your body up to be loosened up and preparing it for activity. It's like, don't you prepare for the day by like maybe having a shower or a cup of coffee, certainly? Well, it's the same thing. How do you prepare the body? How do you prepare your body? Now, if you're 20, it's already prepared. It came prepared out of bed, but much past 30, you've got to do a little something to prepare it, or prepare for activity, or for exercise, or for whatever it is that you're planning to do. And what do you base that on? So there's three basic ways we're moving our body. Up and down like this, we do this a lot. Rotation, we do this a lot. And one that is stressed extensively in the course, lateral flexion, which we do the least amount. It's not like I come up to you and introduce myself to you and say, hi, I'm Will Nelson. I don't do that. And if you think about the way you move in daily life, it's a lot of up and down, or flexion and extension, and a lot of rotation, but not so much lateral flexion. Lateral flexion is critical, and that's what sustains your posture. And what do you think is a hallmark of youth? To me, on a physical level, youth is posture. Think of the posture of an athlete. It's beautiful. It's impeccable. It's efficient. It allows them to do whatever they're trained to do at their highest level. It makes them mechanically sound. It eliminates injuries. Now think in your mind what most older people have for posture. It's not so good. They're stooped over, they're hunched. It's like their whole body is kind of moving instead of parts of the body moving independently and with a little level of velocity. So in these routines, we're going to learn how to shake our body, and we're going to learn these different movements, the lateral flexion and the up and down and the rotation, and then we're going to learn to combine them. So we start with a more simple movement and we make the movement a little bit more complex. We're not going to use any weights. We're not here to lose 20 pounds. We're not here to bulk up. We're not here for any of that. We're here to understand how to use movement in its most fundamental vowel and consonant letter of the alphabet type manner. That's the point of these routines. So you have an instinct to stretch. Everyone has it. Everyone's born with it. You look at a child, small child. When they first wake up, what do? They stretch. Open the hands, close them, move around. Animals, you got a pet at home, what does it do when it wakes up? It stretches. Well, we tend to lose that as we get older because, well, life takes over. So we want to incorporate that back in. And so, for example, I can use my hands as if I move my fingers like this quickly in my hands and I can shake my hands, these are loose functional hands and they're pain-free and I can do all kinds of things with them, and it's super important to me because I play the guitar, I play the piano, I dig in the soil, I work on people's bodies with these hands. So I have to put these hands through a range of motion. Now, there's a bunch of bones and muscles in the body. And if we're going to try to put all of them through a range of motion, we're going to have to be very specific about how we do it, or we're going to be here all day. And I don't want to be here all day. You don't want to be here all day. We want to learn how to move our bodies in ways that sustain it, that are functional, that prepare us to do, quote unquote, the heavy lifting, if that's your intention, and to be pain-free. Because here's the thing. When the pain starts, the activities stop. I don't want that for you. Because this channel, this well-adjusted living, is about self-reliance of the mind and body, and that means sustainability and functionality. So each of the routines is just a few minutes long, and some of the movements will be repeated because they're very important, they're foundational. They're the vowels and consonants, so to speak. And it is a bit of watch and do, because you're going to watch how I'm moving my body and try to somewhat replicate it in yours. But I'll tell you this, honestly, you try it a few times and you'll make it your own. You'll know from moment to moment, day to day, that when you do a little twisting, it's like all of a sudden then your body wants to do this, and then the next time you do it, it wants to do this, or whatever it is, because you have a human instinct to stretch. These movements, these routines, are going to activate them for you. And all you got to do is do them a few times, because it's already built inside of you. And this creates a fantastic foundation to understand more complex movement, to be able to do things like work out in the gym or physically strenuous activities of any kind. And you develop a sense of being able to check in with your body and understand what it needs. It's like having a relationship with it. It's a good idea. You want to sustain yourself through life? It's critical. Absolutely critical. So, you don't necessarily have to do the routines in order. I recommend that you do, because there is a sense that they build on one another. But whatever works for you works for me, as long as you're working a program. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to this channel. Next time some of your friends are over, put a couple of these routines on and move together with each other. Move around a little bit. It's all about getting more movement. And here's another thing about movement. This is real important. All movement counts. If I just spend 10 seconds with my arm up over my head, that matters. Why? Because I spend all day long with my shoulder down like this. So just that bit of time And we're not talking about cardiovascular development. You have to put in a certain number of minutes to develop heart-lung capacity. But I'm talking about everything else. I want you to stay loose. I want you to stay comfortable. I want you to stay pain-free. And these routines, dollars to donuts, are simple ways for you to incorporate movement that you can learn to make your own and start doing on your own, and keep your body in a constantly warmed up state. Because once you reach a certain age, that becomes very, very, very important. And we don't want you to be injured. And most of all, I want you to enjoy the game of life.